if you replace doom scrolling or staring at a wall or like whatever we do to kind of disassociate from time to time, if you replace it with something like, I'm gonna sit here and doodle for 30 seconds, or, it can be 10 seconds to 2 minutes of just something else that allows you to create something, whatever that is for you. Like if you love to cook, like allowing yourself to make yourself a delicious tea latte or a cup of coffee, or like you can have intention and beauty in so many little day-to-day moments. And allowing yourself to do that and realizing it doesn't take that much time. It takes less time than doom scrolling for 10 minutes. And it's much more
Uh-huh.
valuable in the long run, kind of like a cat nap, but energetically speaking.
Craft Your Life is a radio show for the tenacious, the bold, and those who refuse to settle for mediocrity. We bring together visionaries, game changers, and relentless go-getters who are crafting their lives, businesses, and relations in pursuit of excellence. If you are ready to shatter limits, embrace the amazing, and live life on your own terms, this show is for you. Each episode delivers actionable insights, inspiring stories, and unfiltered conversations that will ignite your drive to win a life worth dying for. Tune in and get ready to live viciously. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Craft Your Life radio show. I'm your host, Matt Kuehlhorn. This is the conversation where we explore intention, attention, inspiration into how we can craft our lives. Today, I'm sitting down with Misti Dawn. She is a creative creature here in Grand Junction. She runs some music and dance therapy and lessons for those that want to find some expression, inspiration, and a bit more. And I'm really excited to chat with you, Misti, already in our warming up and conversation. It's been super fruitful, so I'm excited. Thank you so much for joining.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Misti, let's start off. One of my favorite questions, like, where did you grow up?
So I was born in Grand Junction, but then when I was 5, my family moved to a very small town in California called Palomar Mountain. And
Amazing.
yeah, it only had 500 people in it total. And its main claim to fame is that it has an observatory that has a once famous telescope. It's not so
Okay.
famous anymore. It's a bit outdated, but it's still cool. And I would love to go back and visit at some point. But it's a Palomar Mountain
Yeah.
Observatory.
Amazing. So California is huge. Are we talking north, middle,
In
south?
Southern, it's about 2 hours away
Okay.
from San Diego.
Awesome.
Yeah, on a little mountain.
Yeah. And so growing up there, how would you describe your childhood? What was it like in a small town?
I played with dirt a lot.
Yes.
I made a lot of mud sculptures. Played search and
Yeah.
rescue with my dog. Um,
Love it.
a lot of reading books in my toy box.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of just creative play, mostly with
Yeah.
myself or my sister.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the kind of concise little summary of born in Grand Junction, went to small town California, a couple hours outside of San Diego, and making it back to Grand Junction?
I actually made it to Colburn and Mesa after that. So I lived in
Got
small
it.
towns the majority of my life. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
when I was 18, I moved to live it with my grandma here in Junction. And I try to get out sometimes and venture into cities if I can, because I find
Uh-huh.
myself craving some city life after living in the woods the majority of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did music find you?
So when I was 12, I started on violin and I loved the violin, but I did not love playing the violin. Something about the posture and my neck, I have scoliosis. And so I had a pretty brutal teacher who would like come up behind me and like smack me if I didn't have the correct posture up here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And so I then switched to mandolin. And so I've been playing mandolin since I was 12-ish. And then after that, I picked up guitar and ukulele. And so I've just been playing those 3 instruments basically since I was young.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
And what's been the inspiration to provide lessons to folks?
I think that everyone is capable. They're capable of expression on so many levels, and music is such a great way to express yourself, and so often we see a musician and we're like, "Wow, I could never do that." But that's not true, you can. You can, like you can have your own expression. You'd be amazing at what works out for you. Different instruments work better for different people, and you never know until you try, and it's really inspiring for me to see people do something that they didn't realize they could before.
I love that. I love the perspective of instruments, like, some work out, better than others for
Yeah.
people. When I was a 6th grader, not too many people know this, but when I was in 6th grade, I I think I was mandated to go into band,
Mhm.
and I went to the trumpet. Um, but every time I would play the trumpet, I'd be standing up and I would literally faint and trying to get air through that little mouthpiece. It just wasn't happening from that. Um, and I don't know how long I like stuck with that, but ultimately I was introduced to the tuba and that thing rocked. And I was just like, okay, this is my jam. I carried that all the way through middle school. And I was really proud of it. But you mentioned that, I just had to share that story because you're right. Not every instrument like lands, but there's usually an instrument that probably does land better, whether it's, whatever, different stringed instrument or whatnot.
Yeah, or even just singing. Sometimes people can sing beautifully, and even if not, but even if they're just enjoying loving singing, and that's good enough. That's something too.
Yeah. Can we talk about that? And I want to get into a little bit better understanding of how you utilize dance music in therapeutical settings as well. But just on that note of singing, so I think a lot of people that are listening right now can relate to where, as children, we probably have a more freer expression in the quote unquote arts than we do as adults. And I think we get conditioned or we hear like, oh, it's just a bunch of noise or whatever. And singing, I think, is so primed to hone in there because I mean, I might sing along to something in the car if I'm totally alone. But I definitely have, like, messaging that I have been off key or
Sure.
some of it's a skill set, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
can everybody be a singer? And, like, where's the yeah, I just wanna go there, like,
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
so we can have these expressions, but what does it really mean to express? Like, why might we need to have that expression or go down that route of messing with some of the things that might be uncomfortable or that we might not have a great skill set for or dot, dot,
Yeah.
dot.
I think especially when it comes to sound. So I'll break it down into a couple different things. When it comes to sound, words, sounds, they all have a certain amount of power, a certain amount of like vibration that we end up filling our spaces with. And we all become conditioned over time to like be smaller. Like, don't be in the way. Don't take up your space. Like if it's not good enough for someone to say they like it, then it's not good enough. And I think that's so wrong. I think we should fully take up our space. We should be able to express ourselves. Sometimes it's fun just to make weird noises. Like you might as well just enjoy. Sometimes I find it really fun and challenging to try to find harmonies. And I know full well I am not on the correct harmony, but you know what? I am working through it and I'm enjoying it. And if you're enjoying yourself and you're expressing yourself, it's all good. Like, you don't have to be good at something to enjoy it or for it to give you benefits.
And what kind of benefits?
Well, from an emotional standpoint, it's just feels great to be able to just be without having those expectations of I have to be good or I have to fulfill this certain role. You can just be in that moment, whatever that is. And creative pursuits are wonderful for that. And beyond that, like you never know who's watching or who's listening and who you might also be inspiring to take up their space and be themselves and enjoy themselves. And if one person likes what they're hearing and another one doesn't, that's not really on you. That's like you just be you and enjoy yourself and express yourself, and as long as it's in the spirit of positive intention, I'd see nothing wrong with it.
Mm. I appreciate that so much. And part of that is because, it's in my own journey and and really even in just conversations today, like I recognize that I have a difficult time allowing myself to really feel that joy,
Mm,
to let go,
mhm.
right? Um, why might that, like, what would you say from your frame to somebody like myself? And why might that, like, expression be important? What are some of the, and again, I'll add a little bit more context and then I just give you the floor because, you know, I understand that, I love to play. I love that expression of joy. And I don't know if it's entwined with identity or, you know, providing or what it is, but it's like, man, I want to I want to make sure I'm winning. I want to make sure like the bills are paid. I want to make like all the adulting. Um and I can easily see like how that can get flipped and suppress the joy, which then could actually suppress the results. But there's a lot there. So you have the floor. Like, why is that expression of joy, that feeling important?
It's important because it's not the antithesis of doing all the things you need to do. You can still do the things you need to do, but there's all these beautiful moments in between everything, or that can be a part of everything. It can be something as simple as taking a moment while you're driving somewhere to listen to a song you like, or like dance around all silly, or sing, or like you see, oh my gosh, practicing gratitude is a huge thing. So, having had some incredibly dark moments in my life, as many people have, like, you find that you search for those glimmers, not necessarily the triggers, like, search for the glimmers, and that glimmer could even be like, "Oh, there's my favorite color over there," and then it's just, like, this moment of, "Oh, I like that," you know? And it all starts in these, like, micro moments of, "I like that," or, "That makes me happy," or something funny just popped into my head, or, like, all these little moments, they start to grow into more, so that as you are going through and, like, paying your bills or going grocery shopping, you can find little pieces of it that are joyful, even if the overall act is not joyful. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
as children, we spend so much time playing, and then we have society being like, "No, no more play, now we're doing this." Versus trying to put the 2 together. There's no reason we can't have both.
That's so true. There really is no reason why we can't have both.
It doesn't
How
make
would
it
you
easy.
define right,
Yeah, but
right. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm trying to reconcile because I think emotionally I know this. Logically, it might be a tougher sell for a guy like myself where like I want to realize results,
yeah.
right? Results in business and my relationships with my family. Um, and emotionally, I recognize that open time of play, of creative expression, like is actually healing and freeing and needed, but it doesn't necessarily logically look like it's moving the ball down the field,
Right.
but it totally has power to do so because it's rejuvenating, refreshing,
Mhm. Yeah, like
right?
if
It's hard.
you
I think it's a difficult thing to
yeah,
reconcile.
if you replace doom scrolling or staring at a wall or, like, whatever we do to kinda disassociate from time to time, if you replace it with something like, I'm gonna sit here and doodle for 30 seconds. Or, it can be 10 seconds to 2 minutes of just something else that allows you to create something, whatever that is for you. Like if you love to cook, like allowing yourself to make yourself a delicious tea latte or a cup of coffee, or like you can have intention and beauty in so many little day-to-day moments. And allowing yourself to do that and realizing it doesn't take that much time. It takes less time than doom scrolling for 10 minutes. And it's much more
Mhm.
valuable in the long run, kinda like a cat nap, but energetically speaking.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I've heard that term doom scrolling.
Ah,
I kn
yes.
I know exactly what you mean, but I don't know
Mhm.
if I've heard that term like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Hey everybody, this is Luke from Cooler Garage Doors. Just want to take a quick second to talk about our sponsor, Sommer Garage Door Openers. In our opinion, Sommers are the highest quality product on the market today. We recommend them for all of our residential garage door installs because of the variety of features they include, such as Wi-Fi connectivity and safety features such as a fixed chain, which moves along a secure rail to ensure your garage door opens quietly and safely. Click on the link in the description to learn more about Sommer Garage Door Openers.
What would you say to somebody that's listening right now that's like, "Okay, I'm hearing this. Yeah, joy's a cool thing, creativity, expressions, cool thing. Like, but I'm not, like, in that flow right now.
Yeah.
Where do I even start?"
It's not always easy, and it's not always joyful. It's about being authentically how you're feeling in that moment. And if what you're feeling is like, "I'm grumpy about something," instead of focusing in on what that is, it's just kinda letting yourself feel through it. And if you're creatively minded, you could draw something, you could even just pick a song and listen to it, but just interacting with your world in some meaningful way while you are processing that. Because you gotta clear that out. It's not all happy. It's not all happy at all out there. Um,
Yeah.
but it's a matter of allowing yourself to freely feel, and then eventually that joy becomes a part of it.
Right. Those feelings can be scary.
Yes, absolutely.
I would imagine. I mean, I can reflect, I used to have, I'm sure I still do. I probably do a little doom scrolling here and there. That would just be like one component of numbing,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Or
Talk
for
about
me, it's
addictions, habits.
overstimulating. Sometimes I will purposely overstimulate myself so that I cannot focus, and then I'm just like, "Okay." Uh,
Mm,
yeah.
heard. What do you think the point of all that is?
I think we get I know for myself with the overstimulation, it's almost like a minor form of energetic self-harm. It creates, like, a barrier to me and everything else that ultimately hurts me. But in the moment, I'm like, "This makes sense. I'm doing this to myself," you know? And it's not as helpful. It's good, I think, for people to take time to themselves and do what they need, even if it's like a few moments of just scrolling mindlessly. That's okay too. But we need to temper that with, well, what am I doing for myself right now? What is my intention in this moment? What am I giving my attention to? And is it helping me or is it holding me back? Is it keeping me in the same place? It's always good to reflect, and then we can decide from there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, your reference of intention and attention. I mean, I think that, puts so much into perspective. So, I mean, we'll take the topic of scrolling because it's come up, and this could work with any of
Mhm.
the numbing activities, really, like any of them. And it's if we go into it, with a very clear intention and an attention to whether it's an outcome or feel like the experience, then it's not as numbing as if we're just like doing it, right? And I think I can certainly fall into a pattern of like, I'm just kind of going through the motions, if you will, and that's not as productive or healthy. It's certainly not a creative expression in that realm. What are some of the things that you've seen in your world, whether it's yourself personally or with others, where like a music therapy or dance therapy has opened up other potentials in life?
Oh, yes. So I love seeing people thrive. So I do some groups with groups of developmentally disabled people. I do dance, fitness, movement therapy, which really is just helping them be in tune with their bodies. Like,
Mm.
so this goes for everyone in general. We're not always comfortable in our own bodies. And like, especially with dance, a lot of people say, I have no sense of rhythm. I'm like, well, you have a heartbeat. So you do. Like, you naturally have a sense of rhythm. You just don't think you do because you're thinking too much about it and you just need to feel. And so
Yes.
helping people to get in touch with their bodies and in touch with themselves and understanding that there are safe spaces for them to express. And I love that with dance. I love seeing people be able to dance and try something new. And even if it feels silly, like we're all just being silly and having fun. It's not a super serious conversation. It's primarily nonverbal, which is huge too. I think so often we default to verbal conversations, which are absolutely valuable. But there's so many nonverbal elements that happen before, after, and during conversations that are integral to that connection and integral to our comfort levels. And so with music and dance, I see that a lot because it's not always verbal. It really allows us to explore those nonverbal communication skills. It allows us to explore where we are comfortably or not. And it gives us opportunities to grow in beautiful and graceful ways with each other. So my goal is always to create a space where people feel safe to express, safe to try things.
Yeah. That mind body connection is so powerful. Like, I remember part of this is like thanks to a great quotes school system, like the mental is so emphasized, and it's like, get the good grades, do the academia, and that's so mental. And while there's like phys ed and stuff, in some of the lower grades, it doesn't do anything for that connection, the integration.
No.
And so I clearly remember in my journeys, like being so logic disconnected from the body. And I see this a lot. Like there's a lot of disconnection to the feelings because they can be uncomfortable and sometimes scary. And then disconnection from the body. And there's a lot of work to get them reintegrated. But then the beautiful part of integrating that is just there's more wholeness. Like
Mhm.
I can now reach a depth, and I'm sure this journey continues, so there's more integrations to go, but I can reach a new level of depth, just in my own communication. Because I think it's pretty clear in the science, like, what is it? Like 7%, 12% of our communication is verbal, and there's so much of it nonverbal, and there's another portion of that energetic, right? Pretty powerful.
It really is. I think that dance is the I love dance so much. Dance really helped me to be able to trust my world and to like learn how to trust others around me and to trust myself in my own uh I'm not sure what word I was looking for. But it was very healing for me. And it
Yeah.
continues to be. Especially when it is partner dancing because there's a lead and follow dynamic and there's a certain level of trust involved. It's like, well, they're gonna lead me this direction and I'm just gonna dance this way. And then especially once you get better at it and then you can switch and you can switch lead or follow throughout the dance, it becomes this amazingly fun conversation
Mm.
without ever having to have any conversation. um,
Yes, I get that.
but then also all the different workshopping you can do. Well, we'll switch it over into music. So, like when you're learning how to play music with somebody, and everyone's at a different level, everyone has their own strengths within it. And so being able to see that, I recently hosted a community jam and we did it song circle style. And so we had probably like 15 to 20 people.
Wow.
And we were all just taking turns leading a song and calling out chords and singing along and just really learning from each other. And people learning how to teach others is pretty powerful because they're also learning in that moment too. So I was a high school science teacher for 4 years, and I had worked within school systems for, like, 5, 6 years before that. And I've been teaching music lessons on the side up until I just decided to fully work for myself last August. I'd been teaching music lessons on the side for about 15 years. And so teaching and learning has always been a huge part of my life. And so it's really fulfilling for me to see people realize they can let go of all these expectations and just be,
Mm. Yes,
and they can
love that.
connect with themselves and with others. And it just creates these wonderful dynamics that continue for them and for everyone else that was involved.
I love that. So I'm picking up and kind of turning a corner here with a little bit of nuts and bolts because now I'm curious, and for the listeners who might be engaged right now, they'd have curiosity too. So I've heard that you have some group events and group offerings. I'd imagine individual as well. Like, talk about how you like to work with folks and how people get involved.
Yeah, so I have a couple monthly events that I have happening right now. I'm coordinating a community jam session. It's going to be every third Saturday. Now, this is really, it's not me telling anyone what to do. It's just basically me creating the space for people to be like, hey, let's come play some music together and see what happens,
Yeah.
see how it evolves. So that's every third Saturday. And currently it's at the old Lowell School building on 7th and Grand. Um, the location may change, but at least for now, that's where it's going to be for the next month. And then every last Sunday of the month, I do a ukulele workshop and jam session. And it's 2 hours long and it costs $20 per person, but I have music that I bring that people can take with them. So I basically
Nice.
share a lesson book with them and they can have it. And then I always have extra ukuleles. So if someone hasn't tried it yet or they just want to try a different uke or anything, like it's very accessible from the very beginner to like even the more advanced, because one thing I love to do with groups is kind of assess like what the strengths are of each individual one, and then we'll kind of like break a song into several different levels. So someone who's more advanced with chords, I might have them do like a different, more rhythmic chord pattern. If they like playing melodies, I might have them do solos, or not have them, but encourage them, be like, here, do this, try this with this. And then the people who are brand new, I help them with chords. So I really love group dynamics where I have all different skill sets. And then I can just see like, how do we all learn from each other? How do we all make this into something fun?
Hmm. Love that.
Yeah. So
And
that's
how do people find you?
I have Instagram and Facebook currently. Because I've only really been officially fully working for myself for less than a year, I don't have a website yet. I'm still
Okay.
kinda figuring out where exactly to focus everything, but I have Instagram and Facebook. It's called Misty Morning Creative Services.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I also have a 4th
Um,
Friday dance. Sorry, one last thing.
yeah, no, that's good. I was just gonna go back there because I felt like I did cut in there too soon. So keep going. So
Okay.
fourth Friday
So the
dance.
other monthly event is I have a 4th Friday social dance, and the purpose of this is to provide a basic lesson, um based on musicality and partner connection. So not necessarily learning a lot of moves, but just like learning how to lead each other around the dance floor with a couple basic moves. And each month has a different theme. So this month's theme is blues. So it's going to be like a blues night. And I'm going to teach a basic blues lesson and then just play blues music for the next 2.5 hours after that. And it's a good Judy's.
Amazing. All right, I took notes on that.
Yeah, it'll be really fun. And that's $10 per
Sounds
person.
awesome. 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 Very cool. And you didn't speak too much into it, but I imagine some individual opportunities as well.
Yeah, so I do private lessons, um, private music lessons. I'm looking for a space to do private dance lessons. I don't have a good space for that currently, but I'm working on that. And then I also do
Yeah.
dance fitness. And so
Dance
I have a
fitness.
community dance fitness I do on Saturdays at 10:30 at a place called the Freedom Institute. And
Awesome.
that's donation based. So everyone's welcome. If you don't have money, please feel free to come and dance. If you do, cool. But if not, like I'd love to have people there dancing with me. We have a great time.
Yeah. Beautiful. Um, Wonderful. Well, we'll definitely include your Instagram and Facebook social handles in our show notes, and the listeners, I encourage you to reach out and get engaged. I do think that there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of healing, a lot of health, a lot of really cool opportunities that can play out in wherever you are really focused. Even if it's not like if what am I trying to say? I think I'm recognizing that I need a creative outlet to be able to express, to be able to tap into that joy in order to have even a stronger business effect, a marriage effect, right? Like
Yeah.
all the things, be a better parent, friend,
Yeah.
brother, all the things. So I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate your just inspiration, how you show up and help guide people towards that. Um, Kind of a closing question for you, Misty, is, just open ended. Like, what are you excited for? And I'm gonna anchor in a little bit of context here because I think that this is going to release in the next couple of weeks, and by no means are we going to get out of any of the wonkiness that we're in. Like if we look at a macro, and I know that some folks are watching the news, or like myself, I'm looking at these papers. Like there's some stuff that I'm like, oh man, this is just not that exciting, and yet there can be some really significant shifts and all this stuff, but from your perspective, looking forward in the work that you're doing, like it could be as individual, maybe there's some different events that you have coming up, um, but it could be macro. Like, what are you excited for?
Well, one thing I'm really excited for is that right now I'm in this interesting space where I'm figuring out, I'm like assessing. Sorry, my dog might bark here in a minute because the neighbors just got home. Um, or like assessing like what is working for me business wise, what isn't, what is working for like on all the different levels. Like where is the income coming from versus where is my energy going and really taking like a deep intentional look. And I'm seeing that one of my new favorite hobbies, which is alcohol ink painting, art basically, is really starting to build as well. And I'm like, maybe it is about following your passions. Maybe it is about to some extent following your whims, like, not like on a large scale, right? But on like a small scale, like just taking that one moment in the day to be like, I feel like doing this right now. And then taking that moment to do it can lead you down so many different paths that you didn't expect. And right now I'm at this place where I'm like, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I have a good sense of the direction I'm looking and I'm happy about it. Like I'm taking
Beautiful.
this community care peer specialist certification right now, and I'll be done with it, I believe, in August. And that allows me to work with larger subsets of people as well, especially within like the reentry and recovery perspectives. So taking like what would be considered more like a darker, deeper more difficult side, and then helping them like to come forward and see like, hey, I can thrive and I can be
Yes.
the things I need to be and want to be for myself and for others. And that's been a new-ish development for me as I've been working on that. And so I'm excited to see the possibilities. I've got my art, music, my dance, I've got that certification. I'm excited to do some more groups and some more intentional and focused community events. And so stay tuned on my Instagram and my Facebook 'cause that's where I'm putting all the things.
10-4. You got it. I really appreciate the conversation and your time today, Misty. Super fun to talk creatively. The inspiration's real. The timing for me personally in this conversation is just surreal because whether you knew it or not, like I just needed it. So you've inspired me, and I appreciate how you show up and the offerings that you have to our community. And I appreciate for how you craft. So thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about what I'm doing and just continue building that inspiration. My goal is to inspire myself and others through authenticity and creativity. And growing up, creativity was a survival mechanism for me. And now as an adult, like I thrive within it. It doesn't have to be any one specific thing. It can be whatever you want it to be. You're just limited by your imagination, ultimately.
Beautifully said.
Ladies and gentlemen, please know that I am incredibly humbled and honored. I can't believe I'm saying this. We have over 2,400 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and we're just growing. It is amazing. And your likes, your subscribes, and your shares have helped us get here. So let's grow this thing together and just know that you are appreciated.